This is my first video on here that I've actually sat and talked. Well, I don't know what else really to do with my free time. Most of the time I just sit at home playing video games. But try to get people together to start making videos, doing movie reviews, things like that with co-workers so we can actually do something besides just live at work. Well, most of them just rather live at work. Don't try to live life, but anyway, it is what it is. So, what I want to do here is I'm going to probably talk about video games, I'm going to talk about comic books, I'm going to talk about consoles, and whatever else may come up as time goes on. Now, from there, first thing I want to talk about is going to be about the generation consoles of PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and the Wii. Great era in gaming, it was a great time, but most people just talk about the games and stuff like that. What I want to talk about is the life expectancy of the console in general. From my experience, on PlayStation 3, the console worked very well, but the disk drives would go out, and then you'd just be stuck with a digital console way before people were pushing digital consoles. So it's a very strange thing to think about. And almost every generation of the console had this problem going on it. From the beginning, when they had backwards compatibility with PlayStation 2 games. The next generation, what got rid of it, but the disk drive would still go out. The next generation, I own one of those, and I haven't really had any problems with it per se, but by the time I had that generation of console, the PlayStation 4 was out, so I've never really had to push the console very hard. So now the 360, oh man, the ring of death on 360s, man, no matter what, you had the red ring of death or you had the red dot of death. And once it went down, you could get it fixed, but they would go back to being bad again and just kind of ruined what there was. And the only reason why I would bring these consoles up is because of the backlog of such great games. But even if you have consoles that are backwards compatible, not every game in the library was transported to backwards compatibility, which makes you have to suffer through these odds of having to get your console constantly repaired or looked at, and it's just a hassle. Now, the Wii, I've never owned one myself. Or what I know of, though, is they have a tendency to break down over time after usage. They probably can get fixed and they can keep going. But the sad thing is that the Wii was technically just a GameCube with upgraded controllers, which never made sense to me to this day. That why didn't you just upgrade the controller concept of the GameCube so that everybody that owned a GameCube, which technically is a far superior console life, I own one of those and has still have nothing to really go wrong with it. The only thing that kind of goes out is the disc latch doesn't close sometimes, but that's wear and tear. That's going to happen on such things like this. But I just don't have really very many people that talk about these problems with that generation of console, and they just look back fondly at all the great games, which at the same time, all these great games that are on these consoles that were made kind of a little too hard for the hardware as well, because the games would freeze so much. But that was one of the things they had problems with, even on PlayStation 2. Arrow, if you need to know, it's just like think about the Grand Theft Auto games when you played them on PlayStation 2, especially San Andreas. Great game. Did the console really enjoy having to load all those graphics and freeze up on you? Yes, it did. But despite that, all those things, they're looked back fondly as great consoles and great libraries of games. I just want to know. Share your thoughts. You can leave comments. You can message me about your frustrations that you've had with your previous generation consoles like this. Anyways, well, I'll probably do another video tomorrow talking about something completely different. I'll see you then.